What's happening, everybody? Welcome back to the Hybrid Network and another Hellboy discussion of the week. And by popular demand, we're taking a look at Karl Ruprecht Kroenen, one of the premier members of the Ragnarok project and a loyal disciple to Grigori Rasputin. But instead of just exploring his comic book origins, we'll be taking a look at the two sides of this character, exploring his transition from the pages to the big screen. So let's start off with some general background knowledge. In the comics world, Kroenen was a brilliant scientist and member of the Thule Society, essentially a German group of aristocrats that were obsessed with the occult, not unlike the British Paranormal Association, and he joined the ranks of the Ragnarok Project and the Third Reich at the behest of Grigori Rasputin. After the initial apparent failure of Project Ragnarok, which in reality summoned Hellboy into the world, Kroenen and the other disciples of Rasputin cryogenically froze themselves in a Nazi research facility, awaiting the day that their master would call upon them once again. Many years later, Rasputin would, setting in motion the events of the Wake the Devil miniseries, where through unforeseen circumstances and a devotion to his comrade Hermann von Klempt, Kroenen and the rest of the members of the Project Ragnarok team were seemingly killed in a fiery explosion. This was not completely the case, however, as both he and Leopold Kurtz survived years later, reappearing in the pages of the BPRD. The most striking feature of Kroenen was his penchant for wearing a gas mask and a bodysuit, which went on to inspire the character in the movie series. In the first Hellboy movie, Kroenen's origin is developed quite a bit, and he's given a little bit of backstory. It's stated that Kroenen was a musical prodigy as a child, touring all across Germany singing opera until the day that his voice deepened from the onset of puberty. The most defining characteristic of Kroenen was his obsession with body dimorphism, which essentially equated to surgical addiction. You see, even as a child, Kroenen was a deep masochist, finding incredible pleasure in bodily harm, so much so that he performed numerous surgical procedures on himself in a quest for physical perfection, getting rid of his eyelids and lips as only a few of many alterations to his body, becoming a disciple of Rasputin and using his own resources to build the technology needed for the Ragnarok project. Outside of his appearance, Kroenen was a gifted assassin who excelled at hand-to-hand combat with his bladed weapons, taking on scores of enemies on his own, and after his supposed death in 1944, he became even more efficient through new augmentations to his body, including a mechanical hand and a wind-up heart. Having survived on his own penchant for hatred and through occult methods, Kroenen's body is a house of decay, with the very blood in his veins having turned to dust long ago, making him a worthy foe to both Hellboy and the BPRD, though he met his own grisly end when he took on the very demon that he and his master had brought into the world, crushed to death by a giant cog after having been impaled on a bed of spikes. No magic able to bring him back to life from that. Obviously, there was a lot to change from the comics, given that Kroenen in the books wasn't more than a typical mad Nazi scientist, but even so, there's a lot to like about both versions, and perhaps one day we'll see this character resurface in this new line of movies. But what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments and tell me what you'd like to see covered from the world of Hellboy and the BPRD here at the Hybrid Network. This is Luke signing out.